And
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to another recap review for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm here with Danny today. Chase and Love and Jamie have the night off as we near end of this season to talk about episode 16. I don't know if we're going to how we gonna feel. A couple episodes ago, I think you were here. I think that we, Danny, we talked about Big Set versus Little Set. Then if she was Big Sut, I think when you was here, and then last week I said she's back Little Sut. So we're gonna see what everybody thinks about Sut
This
today.
is Sut.
I don't know what she is today, but we're
I'm
gonna
just say Sut.
But how you doing today?
I am good. Just here, ready to talk about some things with these women's.
Yeah, it was a pretty I would say, I guess, pretty solid episode. I mean, they're on a trip. I do think things have been kind of repetitive, but we'll see. We know that they shot the reunion. I believe was it last week. I believe. I think sometime with the last 2 weeks. I think it was last week. If it wasn't last week, it was week before last. So that's done. I believe next week is the finale. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Right. I think it's what I saw. Yeah. With the reunion airing the first week of April. So hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We got Sass, Art World in the chat. Shout out to our mods.
Look at Kai in the chat. Kyra.
Who in the chat? Not Kyra in this thing. Who didn't pick and dug Kyra? Not just playing. Hey Kyra, how you doing? It's been a long time. Sean is in the chat. Kevin's in the chat. Kevin, hey Sean. Lisa's in the chat. All right, if you're in the chat, let us know that you're here. Make sure you hit that like button. Also, let us know where you're watching from. It's 5:00 here in LA. It's 8:00 over there. And you in Florida right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Florida for the week.
For the week. Okay. Well, let us know where y'all watching from. Hit that like button and let's get into the episode. All right. So last week's episode featured, the ladies getting to St. Lucia. So this trip is planned by Bose. So, I mean, like I said last week, kudos to her coming in her first season, planning a trip, and like I said, they always go places. I feel like Beverly Hills always go like some really nice places, but I appreciate that they went to like something tropical because they never really go into anywhere tropical. I don't recall, not on their main like full season trip, or main season trip. So it was good to see that. We get to they're about to go to dinner in this episode, and we find out at the table that Bose is kind of just now she's learning and getting to know Dorit. Obviously she came into this season with not a mind of her own, kind of latched on to Dorit, in my opinion. And, I mean, it's like any friendship, but she's also getting to know her while also defending her a lot. So she finds out they have like a small talk conversation about Dorit not really walking around the house naked, and she's just like kind of gagged that, who doesn't walk around their husband or walk around their man naked or in intimate spaces? Apparently not Dorit. And they have a couple of conversations of the small talk, and then Dorit, goes ahead and gets to the point, gets to the chase. Now, last week, when she was having a conversation before they were getting ready for dinner, she did say that she felt like she didn't know what Sutton was going to get because they hadn't really had a conversation. It kind of was like evading each other. So she brings up Sutton being mean to her in any kind of way. And, Sutton is just like, well, listen, we all kind of do it. Like, don't try to put it on me. We've all had moments where we lash out and have these intense moments, and that's just what it is. So don't put it all on me. Dorit does bring up a lot of the past moments that they've had or whatever. And, she feels like Sutton has rejected any time to speak on it. So anytime that she feels like Sutton would have, I guess, should have spoke to her or tried to make amends, she feel like she hasn't, right? So Jennifer Tilly actually speaks up for once and in the conversation because she's very vocal and very verbal on the after show. I have seen that from what I've seen. But she says, well, she thinks that Sutton has definitely been sincere in wanting a friendship with Dorit despite what's happening in the past. And so, Sutton goes down this whole thing about like them not hanging her to the cross, blah, blah, blah. And basically, and Dorit says him is like, well, girl, you're not a victim. And then Sutton is like, so she goes down this whole path of Sutton is not a victim. She feels like Sutton does not take any accountability and that she is the master of taking accountability, right? Right. Sutton was like, I do what I want. Like, you can't tell me if I can phone to be a victim or not. You can't tell me what I can and cannot be. You know, Big Sut stepped in for a few seconds. But then, you know, Lil Sut came out right after and she said, you know what? I do want to apologize for the comment. And I was like, you know, what is it going to be? But she apologizes for basically saying that Dorit is broke, calling her brokey. And she says that basically it was out of character and beneath her, and she's felt really bad about it. So everyone is like, okay, and it sounds like Dorit is like receptive of it, but she doesn't really stop talking to maybe listen, because before, whether she can say she accepts it or not accepts it, she continues to go on all her issues that she has with Sutton. And so Bose, this surprised me.
My
Bose,
turn.
I was like, what? Bose was like, Dorit, like, listen to her. Like, wait, listen to her. You know, she's trying to apologize. And Dorit's like, no, because she does this, she does this. And then basically everyone is trying to get Dorit to listen to Sutton's apology, at least, you know. So they don't really get anywhere, you know, honestly. Bose, at this moment, I feel like this trip, she's actually kind of getting to know who Dorit is. Obviously, they're still friends, right? But she's finally learning who Dorit may be, right? Because the moment she realizes that she may not be the most receptive of apologies. I will say one thing I do notice about, and I think it's been mentioned before with Bose, is that she's very by the book of corporate. And I think her mentality that she uses in everyday life comes from being in the positions that she's been in, but I don't think they're applicable in those situations, especially in this. Because, and I mean, you can listen to an apology, but you know, you don't have to accept
You
it.
don't
You don't
want
have
it. You don't want it.
to want it. You know, that's just what it is. You know, so I think it's a bit unrealistic to that. But I think in like a work environment, I think that's something you just have to do, and I see that with her, right? Anyway, so they, you know, after that, Dorit goes ahead and she apologizes for the joke. And then Sutton is like, was it a joke? And then she's like, the comment that I made. And was this like, you know, she felt like she would have apologized sooner, but the bitch comment is why she did not apologize. Um, the topic switches between Kyle and Bose and their relationship, and we find out that Bose saw Mauricio with the girl at a restaurant, and she immediately called Kyle on voicemail and was just like, "Girl, what you want me to do? You want me to jump her? You want me to beat her ass?" That's basically what she said on the voicemail, because you know,
That was
Bose.
funny.
I know. What you want me to do, girl? That's basically what she said. So after that, to close this scene out, you know, Garcelle, knowing that she wanted to bring up the whole Morgan thing before, she says, well, listen, we all want to support you, like, you know, Bose over here is doing. But, you know, the issue is we can never talk about Morgan. We know everything about Mauricio, but we know nothing about Morgan. Um, and so Erika makes a comment in her confessional and says, I don't know why, you know, Garcelle wants everybody to be forthcoming about their past and their dating life, because hers peaked in the 90s. I ain't gonna lie, I did laugh. I thought that was kind of funny. But I did see what Garcelle said on the after show. So, you know, good clap back. And Kyle basically gives nothing. She seems a little irritated, and she kind of, you know, I noticed when Kyle is like back against the wall, she kind of like folds like a little, like a dog, you know, like when they like know they're in trouble, she kind of folds in. But Garcelle ultimately ends up upset because she feels like she was the only one that spoke up, and the conversation was her and Sutton. Although I don't know why Garcelle expected Sutton to speak up, because one is Sutton. She loves the relationship she has with Kyle. And even in the conversation that she had last episode or 2 episodes ago, Sutton was not
He
that.
made excuses.
She made it clear and excuses then. But anyway, what are your thoughts on all things with Dorit apologize? I'm sorry, with Dorit and Sutton apologizing, Bose, you know, trying to kind of get and learn Dorit situation between Bose and Kyle, and then also Garcelle bringing up the Morgan situation.
So, remember that video that I think you used to share it before in our group chats? That video of Portia digging her purse with the lip gloss because people's lips should be dry from talking about the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I felt as soon as this scene started.
Oh, right.
You know, because you're right. Like, if you don't have to accept an apology if you don't want to, right? Which is clearly where Dorit is at with Sutton, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't want to accept an apology or don't want one, then why are you still talking about it? Like, you keep bringing it up and bringing it up. And at this
Yeah.
point, it is literally to hear herself talk.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine what PK goes through at home. Like,
Yeah.
we see this on camera. It's very clear that Dorit cannot let anything go. So I'm just kind of over us having to deal with this same topic over and over and over. If I was Sutton, I wouldn't have apologized for calling her poor reads. I would not. Bose did shock me. I actually paused it and rewind it when Bose said that. Did I just see what I talked
kind of
about?
did too. I had to stop. It was like, wait a minute, let me stop what I'm doing. Well, did she just? Was that Bose?
Yeah, I had to stop rewinding. So big props to that, and we'll talk about it later on. But I love that she continued to stand and to read, to read the later scene. But with the whole Garcelle and Maurice, the whole Garcelle and the whole thing with Garcelle and Kyle. While I agree with you that she shouldn't have been shocked that Sutton didn't back her up, because she was kind of making excuses for Kyle when they were just talking about one-on-one, saying, take baby steps with her. Maybe there was a part of Garcelle that would feel like, well, maybe she just values my friendship a little bit more because I'm the only one that actively stands up for her and defends her. That she was probably hoping Sutton would have done that,
Mm-hmm.
But I also, on the flip side, could have pictured 50 other instances where Garcelle was actively being attacked, where she should have felt this way with Sutton. This part, to me right now, wasn't necessarily about her not having Garcelle's back in this instance, to me.
Yeah.
Not compared to many other times that Garcelle's been being attacked, and Sutton just sits there with her hands folded and her lips pursed. So I think I'm glad that Garcelle is finally speaking up about it, but I wish it had happened a long time ago. That's all I got.
We'll talk more about it, but I definitely agree with that. Garcelle just shouldn't be shocked. Whereas I see what Garcelle is trying to do. I also am a bit frustrated because sometimes, they all do it, but sometimes it's like you beating the dead horse. So my thing is, if you are so for getting some information or airing somebody out, and that's what you want to do, then you don't need help. You don't need that. So if you want to know more about Morgan, then you find out and you stand in it and you be out there alone on that island alone. You can't expect someone. And I get it. They've been back and forth, but there's been a lot of debates in this chat on our show since we've been reviewing the show on how Garcelle has Sutton's back, but many times Sutton has not. And so, it hasn't changed. I like them both, but is there many situations where Sutton just is mute? That's just on that when she could be verbal. So yeah.
And I forgot to mention the comment that Erika made about Garcelle, because I did chuckle, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
But to be quite honest, Erika, you don't share the truth voluntarily. Anything that's been shared on you is always told. Erika doesn't volunteer much to Garcelle to make that kind of comment.
Yeah.
Like, what is Erika talking about this season? Her decorating that place?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, I chuckle, yes, but Erika thinks because we saw her life on TV, her be married, and now she's refurnishing her home. We saw her go through the plane victim thing, the jury. You're like, yeah, you're on the show, and yes, you showed all of that, but not everybody has all that kind of baggage, sweetie. I'm just saying, we ain't really. Erika talks about banging somebody every season. Who's she banging? Who is banging Erika? Come on. Like, she's not an unattractive woman, but she ain't who is banging Erika? Let's find out.
Nobody wants that negative press.
Right. I don't think anybody's out here just dying to have a piece of Erika Jane.
Not without makeup. So,
yeah. Hello. In that picture that they showed of her from the previous reunion 2 years ago, that little clip. Oh my gosh, she looks man. Work is saving these ladies. My God, today. Because she did not look good at the peak of that whole trial Tom thing. She did not look great that season, and that clip showed it. I'm just gonna say that. So yeah, exactly. Erika was forced to talk. She did not. There's always people on these shows, on these housewife shows. There's always somebody saying how somebody doesn't share their life, doesn't do this, but usually these people are always the same ones who don't share either. And if they did share something, they feel like what they've shared because they didn't volunteer it. It was something that just kind of came out and they was forced to speak about it, i.e., Sutton, i.e., Garcelle, and people bringing things up. Otherwise, she probably would escape that whole season with no explanation.
And then she wasn't truthful with it.
And that's what I'm saying. We still don't know what the hell happened to Tom. Did he fuck? Was it snowing? Was it raining? Was it a fire gala?
Was it a month? Yeah.
What happened? We don't even know. So please.
Did the ankle touch the neck bone? Like, we just don't know.
We don't know what happened. Did he have a brain issue? Was it the ankle? We don't even know. So Erika, please. I'm just saying. We'll move on. We'll talk about this more too. All right. So then they go back to the rooms, and there's like two separate conversations going on right now. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was walking back and forth. Was that Kathy's tracks on the couch? Erika's tracks. Okay, I'm like, I know they showed the clip of Kathy, but I wasn't sure
that was Erika. And they showed the clip because Bo said, "This is the second time I've seen a white woman."
Exactly. So yeah. So okay. So they get back to they're having a conversation. And I guess Erika just ripped her little tracks out and threw them on the couch. It's whatever. I don't know if that's a thing that people do. I don't wear tracks. Maybe if I did, I just throw them out on the lamps, the nightstand too. I don't know. But anyway, Dorit brings up a situation with Sutton about the apology, and Bowles is kind of coming at her. Bowles is basically telling her, like, I feel like you weren't receiving what she was saying and that you weren't acknowledging what she was saying. You weren't listening to what she was saying. And so she basically says that, she feels like Dorit has issues giving and receiving apologies. And I like that she kind of stood 10 toes deep in it. She didn't switch it up behind the scenes. And so that shows that, okay, at least when she feels a certain kind of way, whether she right or wrong, she just, she stands in it. I have not seen her flip-flop in terms of saying something here and then saying something there. I will say that whether I agree with what she said, she
stands firm.
If she's been wrong this day, she was wrong that night, and she's been right. It's been consistent, So I like that about her. Then we have a conversation with Sutton, Garcelle, and Jennifer Tilly, and this one was interesting because we see Garcelle and Sutton have like a moment of tension, right? So Jennifer Tilly asks about Dorit, and Sutton brings up, basically Kyle, she's been so happy and so grateful that Kyle came to her defense in the whole Dorit thing. And they show a clip of her being like, oh my God, I'm just so glad. Thank you for having my back, Kyle. Thank you for having my back, Kyle. And she literally says in her confessional, see, I knew we were friends. I'm like,
I cringed so bad. I was so mad.
I literally was like, that is so disgusting.
Because I don't think I've ever heard her praise Garcelle like that for having her back.
Like the fact, the amount of acceptance that she wants from Kyle is just disgusting. And it's like, it's nothing wrong. Like Kyle, you can love her like her. I just find it to be so crazy that at that big age, you are craving for someone's attention that has clearly shown you up and down that they either have your back or they don't.
And it's supposed to show you at the end of the episode too that she don't.
Right. It's just crazy. It was, it reminded me of Brittany from Salt Lake City when she was you can tell she wanted to be Lisa's friend. She was trying to be everybody's friends. She wanted to be, what's her name's friends? Bronwyn. And then Bronwyn basically said, girl, I was just playing you. Like, son, you being played, girl. Like, come on. It's crazy. And so after she says that, Garcelle being irritated from the table, she was just like, what does it take for you and Kyle? No, basically, like, what is it going to take for Kyle to say something? I'm saying, like, should we just take what she says and move on, or should we continue to pile into her? And so Sutton is just like, I think it's unfair to challenge what someone says when they speak their truth. Garcelle says, well, you did it last year. And I said, oh, because realistically, she did, which I don't have an issue with it. So Garcelle kind of gets irritated. She gets up and kind of walks away. I thought she was just gonna storm out, but the conversation kind of continues. It kind of continues a little bit or whatever. And Sutton is just like, what do you want from me? And Garcelle was like, I don't want nothing from you. And I'm like, she was like, I don't want anything from you. Like, let's be clear. Then Sutton kind of counters the conversation and says the same that Garcelle did the same thing last year. They go back and forth, and Garcelle basically says that she is protecting Kyle. She storms out. I guess this is like the first moment Jennifer Tilly is there. She's like, "Well, girl, I'm just gonna go ahead and unpack my expensive labels and let y'all argue over these girls.
And let y'all poor people keep carrying.
Poor people over here talking. I'm gonna go unpack my expensive things." But what are your thoughts on either conversation with Sutton, Garcelle, and Jennifer Tilly, or not Kyle? What's her name? Dorit, Bose, and Erika.
Don't have to say about Erika. She didn't need to be there. Dorit and Bose. I agree with you. I'm glad that Bose stood firm in that with Dorit. I do think that by the look on Dorit's face, she almost had to kind of think before going off. I really think her reaction was to like get smart with Bose right back. But she knows she doesn't have any allies like that on the show currently that's gonna, stick up for her the way Bose has. So I think she second guessed it, and she just kind of took it. As far as Sutton and Garcelle, it really bothered me because you can tell that Garcelle was you could tell her feelings were genuinely hurt.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I don't think I've ever seen a scene where Sutton has really praised Garcelle like that for having her back, not with that much enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I would much rather respect Sutton saying, "Look, I know we want to know these things, but I'm finally on a good path with Kyle. I don't want to instigate things here and ruin it." I think Garcelle would even accept that, Yeah. But she's just not outright saying that. And I was glad that Garcelle said, "Well, you did it last year." And Garcelle was over her. Garcelle kept trying to walk up the stairs. Sutton would say something else. Garcelle would say, "Okay, good night." Sutton would say something else. Garcelle would say,
"Okay." Was trying to get out of there, but it was giving me so like, and another thing.
Yeah. And I really hope that Garcelle follows this, follows suit with what she does later on and let Sutton fend for herself at the reunion too.
Well, I do think that going forward, that will be the case. We see what happened in the last scene. But I it's a lot of things to unpack with this situation. Obviously Sutton being so like desperate. I did find that kind of disgusting. Like I said, it probably did. It was very cringy. It probably did hurt Garcelle's feelings, but yeah, I'm at the same time, Garcelle, if this isn't the first time this has happened, I feel better about. Here's the thing. I would have rather Garcelle. I could take Garcelle being upset about other things in the past that Sutton has not stood up for her about versus this, because this is something to me that Garcelle is kind of spearheading herself. She wants to know. She is having the conversations with Sutton about them, but you should be getting the same vibes in these other conversations that she does not want to have this conversation. She wants to stay in good graces, blah blah blah, right? But there's been things.
I think the difference with Garcelle, Tez, is that when Sutton's being nosy, Garcelle backs her up in those moments too.
That's true.
That's why, like
last year, they showed that scene where she was kind of going at Kyle. And then she wasn't saying it, and then Garcelle was like, "We're talking about Morgan," So I think that's what she wants, but this is just kind of an example of sometimes you just gotta realize you may have went a lot hard for somebody. That's okay. You can pull back. Hopefully, going forward, she'll pull back and just let Sutton sit out there. You can still be her friend and help her, but when it comes to situations where she's kind of going out on the limb, let her go on the ledge her own. That's just what it is. I don't see nothing wrong with it. But this is definitely the first time that this has happened. So I understand the frustration. So the next morning, there's a quick scene with Sutton and Garcelle. And Garcelle does apologize. They're eating breakfast.
Annoyed. That apology annoyed me. I wouldn't have said shit.
She apologized basically by saying she just wanted her to have her back. They talk about it being their first fight. She says here. So apparently there's been like they've had other issues, maybe not on camera, or not in general, and that's to be expected. This is the first time we've ever seen them have any kind of moment, and you can tell they both were. I ain't gonna lie, when they had the moment, you can tell they both were kind of upset because even Sutton seemed a bit bothered that they had that disagreement. So I definitely don't doubt their friendship from this. Like to me, I think they're still good friends, but it was definitely a moment of friendships having a tense moment. But Sutton speaks on Kyle in this moment by saying that she thinks the issue is that, well, Mauricio is out dating. You know, Bo said she saw Mauricio with the girl. She thinks that, I think she's saying that Kyle should kind of get out there and date, or maybe the fact that he's dating and she's not, that's why it's such an issue. And that's kind of where things wrap up in this scene. Do you want to talk about anything here?
No.
Okay. So they get ready for the boat, and they do these little photo shoots. Look like they did a little thirst traps. You know, Garcelle laying on the sand with her boobies out. You know, I was taking her, Jennifer Tilly in the pool with her tatas. I was like, okay. I ain't gonna lie. Sutton had me hollering with her little pitch she was trying to take. I was like, girl, what is you doing? But I don't expect anything different from Sutton. She's a very quirky lady. So that's like me expecting a thirst trap from Kathy Hilton. Like, what would that be like?
Why Kathy would have had on her tennis pants and a windbreaker?
Kathy would have took her tracks out and put them over her boobs and said,
no, Kathy would have like this.
Now she would be like this. Now Kathy would have been like, what?
Michael Jackson.
Right. So they all head for the boat. They all get dressed. They all got their bathing suits on and stuff like that. There's a little small moment between Erika and Sutton, which I was, kind of confused how we got to this point. But before all that happened, Dorit and Kyle are talking on the front of the boat, and Dorit just kind of asks Kyle about Kim, how she's doing, and basically acknowledges that she has not seen the three sisters together in a while. Kyle says that Kim is doing great, but she has not they don't see each other as often, so that's one thing. And the camera goes back to the boat of the other ladies outside of Dorit and Kyle. So Sutton takes the floor and she talks again how sincere she was with her apology the night before. She brings it back up. And Erika's like, well, Sutton, I feel that you are very critical of others and not compassionate when it comes to women who are going through things. Now, where she said women. She said you pose as a friend and then work as an enemy. And says that she'll say and do nice things for you, but then go around and call you a liar, which she's referring to the whole, the little scene where she was like giving her a divorced kid or whatever. And then she came back to her a year later about the whole LA Times thing or whatever, right? Because we know that initially Sutton's first big moment with anybody was really with Erika because of the whole thing. That was like the first time she became Big Sut. We'll say that. That's when Big Sut was born. And so she basically, after making it about her, she says, I just don't understand why you have such a hard on for Dorit. Like, what is the problem? So then, we see the history of Erika apologizing, then admitting to her that she was playing to her. We see the history of Sutton and Erika's relationship, because I think 2 seasons ago, they were having that again, and then they apologized and blah, blah. Then at the reunion, turns out they were not good. So whatever, back and forth, right? It becomes a thing of her comment because Sutton is really upset that Erika says that she is mean to women in the world. And she is actually referring to women in the group, but Sutton, all Sutton heard was women. And so she thinks it's a general statement to all women in the world, not just women in the group.
I didn't think that.
But there was no help from Kyle. And no help from Garcelle either. That's what happens here. So Sutton kind of blows up and was like, what the do you want from me? Like, y'all are picking at me, blah, blah, blah. I know we had our issues, Erika, but I don't understand. Like, she's like, I love you. What is the problem? And then there's like this small little snarky moment between Kyle and Erika of them like giggling as she's kind of like going off on her.
Oh, because Sutton said to Kyle that they made up and I love you to Kyle, but Erika says, oh, thank you. And Kyle says she was talking to me, and they started giggling.
But see, I thought she was talking about Erika.
No, she was talking about Kyle.
Oh, I don't know. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think Kyle was trying to be funny. I took it that she was talking to Kyle. That's what I had seen. I mean, it could be applied to both, but I feel like the context of what they were talking about was definitely Erika, and I think. But Kyle, I saw her hand to Kyle. That's why I thought it was Kyle. Okay, well, I guess maybe we'll find out at the reunion, child. I'm not sure.
Somebody chat and correct us.
Right, please, somebody help us. Let us know. So Dorit gets involved, and then Sutton speaks, and then she tries to show her sincerity again. And Dorit is just like, Sutton, whatever you're saying, just say it in English, like say it in English. And so Sutton mocks Sutton mocks Dorit's
I hollered.
English accent. I laughed so hard because the way, I wish Jamie was here. Jamie would do it so great because I can't do it, but the way that she Dorit's accent or fake accent had me in tears. I thought that was hilarious. Um, Garcelle doesn't back her. As Sutton kind of walks off, Kathy goes to check on her, and it just leaves, Sutton crying and having a moment. And she literally says, "I hate these fucking bitches. They are all such
See
freaking
you next Tuesdays.
days." And that's what the episode ends. What do you think?
So, here's the thing. Was Erika right about, so let's be very clear. Sutton knew Erika did not mean the women in the world. Okay. Sutton, that woman was grasping for a moment. She was grasping for a moment to breathe from getting all this thrown at her. But was Erika right about the examples she pointed out? 100%. Was Sutton right when she attacked them? Everything that Sutton said, she talked about Erika's situation. It was all true. She questioned Kyle about what's going on in her marriage. What do we see come out later on? You know what I mean? So my other thing is that Erika, everything you're saying, every woman that's ever been part of Beverly Hills cast has done that when they've had the opportunities to do it to somebody.
Yeah.
You can say these things, but hold up a mirror to yourself. Dorit, once again, we resolved. She came back again to talk about the same thing over and over and over. I was very glad when Sutton told her. Dorit said, "Well, you apologize for this, but nothing else." So I said, "That's all I wanted to apologize for." Yeah. And so I was very glad when Sutton told her, "I'm done. We're cool. Nothing. I don't want nothing from you. We're on ice."
She said, we good right now," and she was like, basically, she didn't care about moving forward. And then Dorit kind of like, you see, I'm like, see, that's annoying. I think for one, I think it's very annoying for someone when you're trying to maybe apologize, but a person like Dorit is like not necessarily trying to make amends, but they're trying to just keep poking at you to make you revert back to what they're mad at you about. We already know that Dorit was just constantly going, inserting herself in this whole thing or whatever, so she can get what she got out of Sutton, which was maybe the hot mic moment, maybe that they didn't want to move forward, whatever it is. Like, you can tell she was poking to get that reaction. She wanted it again.
100%. She wanted Sutton, and I fault Sutton for giving Dorit what she was looking for, because I believe Sutton meant that apology.
Yeah.
But in that moment, Sutton probably regretted giving that apology to Dorit because it was very FU. Because here's the thing, and I don't care how anybody else is, but if I apologize for something and you say you receive it, don't bring it up to me again. I'm done. I am done. Let the mouse go. But this is again a perfect example that not only did Kyle not stand up for Sutton here, but Kyle also kind of shot Sutton down a bit when Sutton was saying you said women in the world. And she was like, no, obviously she meant just the group, is what Kyle said. So she kind of jumped in a little bit defending Erika here.
Per usual.
So I'm very glad Garcelle sat there. I'm very glad Garcelle let Kathy be the one that says she's going to put her in a better mood. And Kathy got rejected and said these boat rides never work. But I'm aggravated with them. I'm really aggravated. I don't want to hear about this no more. And I know we're going to have 3 episodes in the reading to hear about this mess.
Well, we all know that in the after show, Kyle had a lot to say about Sutton. So clearly they're going to be at odds at the reunion, I'm sure. I'm sure she seen at the beginning of the boat, she said that she was irritated with Garcelle because of her bringing it up. So I'm sure that'll be something. I'm sure they'll have some things to say about Garcelle in general. And I'm just curious to see where Kyle and Dorit stand now. You know, we know Bose is still up under Dorit's ass. So that ain't going nowhere.
It ain't going nowhere. You know, I think Kyle is probably mad at Sutton because in watching the show back, she's probably seen these conversations with Garcelle, and she probably sees why Garcelle felt empowered to bring it up. Is because her and Sutton having them conversations.
Yeah, that could be a thing. But I like Sutton, but you know, she needed to have this moment. It was kind of a lesson. Like, okay, you want to continue to defend this. It's nothing worse than being friends with somebody and watching them not be abused, but be mistreated, you know, by someone else, like maybe a friend or a lover. And it's like a situation where you're trying to tell them, like, you know, get them to shake them to wake up, but you know, they have to see for themselves. So maybe by the reunion, she saw for herself. She'll maybe give Garcelle an apology, and moving forward, maybe, I doubt
it'll be better.
Maybe this will be what she needed to actually be like, you know what, Kyle is not like, yeah, Kyle is cool. I can go see her mom, but Kyle is not my friend that I can have in my corner to defend me in any kind of way. Because clearly that friend is Garcelle, in which it seems like she's not distancing herself, but it seems like she is kind of like removing herself from being that person.
Yes, and this comment that Sasuke, Cortez put that comment that Sasuke just mentioned about the after show about with Kyle.
Kyle had the nerve to say on the after show, Garcelle and Sutton don't show viewers their kids, so why does she have to talk about Morgan? Oh, I didn't see that cuss.
Wasn't Garcelle's son just in the fashion show? Wasn't Garcelle? I mean, her sons have been plenty of outfits. Wasn't her son also attacked by bots? Like, if Garcelle wanted to be protective of her kids, she has a reason to. So
her kids are on the show.
Yeah,
and now she has a reason to never bring them on the show ever again.
Bingo. So,
there is no way. Yeah. So, Kyle, you were a lesbian lover last year. Stop acting like we didn't.
We've seen more of Garcelle's son this season, the one that's doing the modeling, than we have of Kyle's daughters.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't watch this after show because I just watched the episode.
If she don't get her one shower a week having ass out of Garcelle's business. Oh.
Yeah, I'm curious to see this reunion because I know it's gonna be interesting. I know it's gonna be interesting in terms of, especially with these comments this comment that she made. That's kind of like, oh, okay, because I know the audacity. Son, maybe, but Garcelle ain't got to bring her kids on the show ever.
I don't want to see Sutton's kids if their legs as small as hers.
I don't care. Sutton's kids, great. As long as they're healthy, happy, that's fine. But Garcelle don't owe her kids the show anymore.
No, Sasuke, I know that was Sasuke said that was silly with one shower.
A crazy lady over here who was mixing alcohol and pills, cussed one of them out on the show. Why would I bring my kids on the show anymore?
And Sasuke, I put Kyle in that same category with Tilly. I know it was Tilly who said she took one shower a week as a kid, but I believe that's how Kyle is now.
Not leave stick leg. Yeah, leave stick leg alone. Leave them little crab.
You know legs. I love Sutton. I still love Sutton, but I'm glad she's learning a hard lesson with Garcelle. I'm glad Garcelle is teaching her a lesson right now.
I agree. All right, listen, we got some callers in the queue, so I am going to go ahead and let them on. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have about 4 more episodes of this season, I believe. I think next week is the finale. Help me if I'm wrong, y'all, but I believe it's the finale next week. And then they said that following that will be the reunion. So we're at the end. If you're watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, which I did watch, and I actually really enjoyed it. That don't mean we're gonna review it, but I did enjoy it. So that's positive news because I was like, I'm not watching it, but I did enjoy it. Surprisingly, I like all the new girls over just anybody that came back. That's me. And I think the show is great without Kenya. And that's just how I feel. So with that being said, hit that like button, subscribe. I know y'all have seen Amanda, Art World, and Saz K, our beautiful moderators in here. Tell y'all to like and hit subscribe. It's 44 watching right now, so I expect to see at least 44 likes when I get out of here, right? Maybe more. I don't know. But first caller is going to be somebody who I have not seen in a while. And I always say, Kyra was the first caller to call in when we started having callers, like, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? So, hey, Kyra.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hi.
What's up? No, I know I disappeared, okay? I was living.
Huh?
I was living.
Who
I was living. I said me. I was living. I've been out and about.
Okay. That's good.
But I miss y'all. I was catching up on some episodes. I guess. What I won't say. I'm sick of all these heifers.
Okay.
Okay. Since I've been gone, give me the wallet comment. And the after show when Kyle was trying to act like she was Miss Big and Bad. I'm sorry. Were we all not here when Sutton came on the show and Kyle was drooling over everything Sutton had?
I remember.
Every time Sutton walked out of Birkin, Kyle was trying to snatch it out of her hands.
Very Dorit now. And Kyle, I'm sorry, very Dorit and Erika now.
Very Dorit and Erika now. I'm also quite sick of Erika. I think like this is so unbecoming of her to act like she's been so victimized by Sutton. And I do want Sutton to stand up more for herself, like regularly. But I also do enjoy the humanity of her being like raw and like telling us what's going on and all that kind of stuff. Because we're not getting it from the other women. I mean, Kyle's on the show for how long? And this marriage and all this kind of stuff, and she can't be straightforward about her divorce. Erika has been on the show for how long? We barely know about that marriage, and then all of a sudden, when everything's falling apart, now all of a sudden this marriage had all these issues. Dorit, we just met Dorit's parents. I didn't even know Dorit had a brother until the robbery. So this idea that they are hiding things and questioning things, I'm like, y'all were the ones who were holding a doggy storyline when Lisa Vanderpump's brother took his life. And we are supposed to believe that you are so upset and so hurt about the women questioning you about your husband committing one of the largest lawyer frauds in America. No one was supposed to question you. Even more so, I'm sorry, was Sutton not the only one who was taking you out, giving you gift baskets, and offering you loans? Because Kyle was not doing that. And was Kyle not the one, every time her and Sutton met up, Kyle was the one bringing you back up and pushing Sutton? Not to say that Sutton shouldn't own that she's the one who brought it up to the group after once in a while, but Kyle kept pushing Sutton to keep talking about you and being the front runner to question you when you were in group settings. And so I do get that I didn't want Sutton to stick up against Kyle, but also I want us to look at the other ladies, because my thing is I would never be friends with Kyle again if I was Dorit and you'd act like I was a crazy woman stalking you and wasn't your real friend on the internet. Because my thing is, Sam was questioning Kyle's marriage, and Kyle has never said that her and Sutton weren't friends. Kyle has never said that out of her mouth. But you were supposed to be family friends, she bought and trips and all this kind of stuff, and that woman act like you were a stranger, chasing her down and begging for friendship. Or even Erika. Erika, Kyle said to you, you don't even know how to have friends, because when Kyle and Tate were being weird, and Erika had to sit there and say, well, I thought you were my friend. Just for Erika to turn around and act like Kyle was the queen of the show and LVP left.
Sure.
So this show was supposed to be about like Kim and Kathy and all that kind of stuff, and Kyle has wormed her way to being the queen when she's really a beta. And so I need all the women to stand up, because Miss Erika, you have a hard on for Sutton. Kyle was right there, and now Kyle has this issue, and you are mum the words. Same with Dorit. Again, ma'am, that woman was on Amazon Live, acting like you were a stranger that she wouldn't even spit on if you were on fire. And now y'all are kicking and laughing again. So I get
Kyle is not friends with anybody outside of this show.
I don't think so either. And I think it's because also if you kind of think about the people that she's had the longest relationship with, you don't really see anyone else around them. Like Erika, the only people that are really around her were like her glam squad, people she was paying, and then the women on the show. And even Dorit, like you don't really see her having any other friends either. Because even when I've looked around at the women on like social media and stuff like that, Sutton has a lot of other friends. And I think that this is a weird situation where like you're on a show that you're supposed to be friends and you're forced to be with these people. So I think Sutton's a person who will go there. And maybe she could stick to it if it was more in real life where you can detach yourself from these people, but you're supposed to stay in friendship with these people and like try to build some kind of connection. And I think that's like just like a very unstable place to be, especially for women who will laugh when someone calls you the C word who does not really know you. Because also this mean girl perspective, Erika Jane and Kyle all were giggling and laughing when Diana was on a tear for Rinna over Sutton. So I do kind of feel like it is kind of, I don't know why people don't, I guess Sutton's a grown woman, and I don't want to, because she's a white woman still regardless. But we're also going to pretend on the show that like she was the odd man out. And anytime she did like really like put her foot to it, it's different when you have one issue and it's just one person, maybe two people against each other. But all of a sudden, all of them are clutching their pearls, and she just did the worst thing ever, and she's just such a terrible person. But then Rinna can be screaming and cursing, yelling at her, but apparently Sutton was the only one checking on her when her mother was sick and dying. But you cursing at her home, like stuff like that. To me, it kind of shows me that like I think I always feel like these women feel like Sutton doesn't deserve what she has, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's not gonna. She's like the finance, the finance wife that I think of. I feel like when she puts herself together, she can look pretty to me. But she's not someone who's like going off for the Botox and all this kind of stuff. But she still, has the things. Because I will always remember when Sutton had that photo that popped up of people with blurred out and bars in her face. So Sutton's in places. Sutton's going to the Met Gala when Kyle saw her first nose and was bragging about being Paris Hilton's aunt. Let's remember this. So I do kind of feel like there is like even with an Erika like this like resentment of, I think someone said it in the comments of like her divorce went the way like all the rich women feel like their divorce should go. And I also kind of find it strange of why are these women wanting Sutton to have sisterhood when I feel like they really don't want her sisterhood, because when she offers it to them and makes one wrong mistake, then the whole thing's null and void. And that's not how friendship goes. Because also, like, when did Erika and Dorit ever become friends? It's an alliance. Like, and now because Rena's not here, I think when you said it, now we see more of Erika and Dorit hanging out. But even then, I don't really feel like they talk about anything else that's not on the show.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
I think Kyle. I think Erika may be more friends with Kyle than Dorit if they are friends personally. But I think they all are. They all kind of seem to, in my opinion, protect Kyle in some kind of way. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, Kyle's living her best life on the show. She has been able to be the star that she's always wanted to be.
Okay, Kyra, we got 2 more callers. I'm gonna let them on. Okay. Thank you for calling in. It's good to see you too. Well, hear from you. Be safe out there.
Night.
All right. Good night. All right, Sir Capricorn, how you doing?
How's it going?
Hey.
I like her.
What's today?
So, I just want to say, I think with this, if you go back just a little bit when Garcelle and Sutton first joined the show, like they've always been the two that have been on the outside. And I think with Sutton, she's always wanted to be on the inside with the group and actually be a part of the group. But they've always kept her at arm's length. I think even with her and Garcelle, that's what ended up forcing those two like initially together. I mean, and I'm not saying that they're not, because they're real life friends. Like we see that. So I think with them being pushed on the outside of the group itself in the beginning, that's what started that bond. Initially, I think it may have started as an alliance, but with them, it ended up growing into a real life friendship. They only had that one initially. They had that one situation about talking about money in the beginning, and they grown an understanding with each other, and then and that's how their friendship ended up bonding like that. And I think, and just like even like seeing it, like you can tell that they're real life friends outside of the show, that they do stuff outside of the show. Because, and I even say, even in her confessional, nobody talked about this, but what Sutton know about Brokey?
She listened to
I don't think Sutton. I can't see Sutton by herself in her car listening to Lotto. So she had like I feel like she's riding with Garcelle in the car, and then Garcelle's like, hey, listen to this. Have you ever heard of Lotto? Like, I can see them together listening to Lotto, but I can't see Sutton.
Well, I will say this: Sutton,
Mhm.
being an LA resident, she is always out in West Hollywood. That I do know, and they do play brokey a lot at the white and black bars. So, not saying that that's where she got it from, but she is always out in West Hollywood. So she may not see that party ish, but in life she clearly does. Ain't no telling.
With the whole Kyle Morgan situation, I think what everybody forgets, even in that group, what did Kyle do to Denise? When you think about the whole Denise and Brandon situation, when Denise Bravo Bravo effing Bravo, like the reason that happened is because they were questioning Denise about whether or not she was munching on Brandy's carpet.
Oh,
So it's the same thing with you and Morgan. Like everybody wants to know, like, so what's going on with you and Morgan? It's no fun when the shoe's on the other foot now.
it's true.
And then Erika and her examples, I agree. Like she was correct with her examples. However, I also agree that it would Sutton was right for questioning situations, but even with the Eric situation, Eric Sutton wasn't the only one questioning that. They all sat at Dorit's house and all met and had the conversation. Sutton
Right.
was the only one that spoke up because for some reason everybody was afraid of Erica. Let's
Well,
just
that's
be
how
honest.
things work in on this show is that it's always that speaks up. That's why Garcelle is probably going to get the heat for when she spoke up in this episode about the Morgan thing, even though clearly that she had, and I'm sure there were others because let's not
Mhm.
forget that Dorit last year also had something to say about the whole Morgan thing. She felt
Exactly.
like Kyle was kind of moving in a weird way, but people seem to forget that. So you know,
And why was Morgan at the hospital with Kyle going to visit Teddy when Teddy was going through a procedure on social media?
it's a lot of
So,
questions. And maybe you know what? I think the best questions come from the viewers. When they ask those questions, I don't know if they actually come from the viewers, but those viewer
right.
questions and fan questions are the best questions. So hopefully at the
And
end we get some
and
answers.
my last bit, it everybody wants to see Sutton activated, but then when Sutton gets activated, everyone gets mad at how she gets activated. You can't. I feel like everybody wants her to clap back at these girls when they come at her, but when they feel like when they don't like they don't like the clap back. All of a sudden, it's an issue. Like we can't keep picking and choosing what we like how we want this woman to be. Like either we want her to be activated and come back at them, or we want her to sit there with her lips pursed. Like what do we want? I personally like when Sutton finally comes out of her shell and like comes back at them. The whole Dorit stop being the bleep. Like Dorit deserved that. I don't care if it was in your home or not, because in that moment, that's what you were acting like.
Yep.
When she asked him on the boat, "What do y'all want from me?" At that point, it's like, "What do y'all want?" Like I keep up. I apologize. Like that, because that's what I feel like you guys want. But then that probably seems like it's not enough. So what do you want?
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
So there's so
yeah,
much.
yeah. You said we got 3 episodes and the reunion left.
I believe next week is the finale, and then they're gonna start. I saw a post about it last week. They chased it to me, so I think it said the finale's next week, and then the
A
reunion is the
two-part
next
reunion.
week. So yeah, that's what I was told. I gotta check, but I believe that's what I saw on the
We got another month.
yeah. We got another month.
Uh,
Yeah, but it's gonna be for
right.
All right, Sir
All right.
Capricorn. One more call, okay? Thank you for calling. All right. All right. Have a good night, Sir Capricorn. Thank you. Our last call is going to be Lisa. Hey, Lisa, how you doing today?
Hey there, my booze. How y'all doing?
Hey.
I'm good. How
Yes,
are
up, baby. Honey, let's just stop. Don't, everybody should know by now. Cal ain't nobody's best friend. Cal ain't nobody's friend. If you ain't learned them in 16 years you been watching the show, baby, you is watching the darn show. I don't know what show you watching then, baby. Cal ain't never been nobody's friend, okay? She ain't, huh? She's like the branches. She move with the wind, baby. Okay. She ain't never been nobody else's friend. And I'm gonna tell you like this and thank you. That God says she's sudden for what it is, baby. I've been waiting for that moment because it been a lot of moments on this show when Garcelle have had sudden back even sudden was wrong. And I was loving it. I said, "You finally got the picture, baby. You finally got the picture." She ain't, baby, she ain't studying like you, it like she was studying for Kyle. She never, for real, she never went, let's go back. Come on, Danny. Let's go back. How she ever went for God said like she did for Kyle. On the many times she been on this show. She
Mm-hmm.
never did. And I'm so glad. Y'all know already know I can't stand Sudden. I'm like, and I'm glad Erica did say because I'm like, I'll be like with Diana, when they was in Colorado, Diana said, "You is." She called you a, well, you say I can't say it on him. You
See
know
me
that
next
C
week.
word, and she called that C word, and everybody, Erica, and everybody bust out laughing like she is. Diana said she do. She cut people deep when they going through the worst things in life, and
Mm-hmm.
then you want to come back and apologize like it ain't nothing. Now you don't do that, baby. And that why the week said that why the week and how much I know the week be wrong sometimes. I do. Sometimes she be wrong. And but sometimes and Elka do too. But sometimes Sudden wanna cut deep, and then you wanna come back and apologize. Now you ain't finna come back and apologize to me. I'm not finna accept your apology. You take your apology and stick it up your tail.
Mm.
That's what I would have told her. And I understand now both really surprised me last night when she was like, "Dweet, come on now." And I'm like, oh, okay then, Bose. Bose seemed to reach what it is. But for my thing of it, nah, then when somebody asks you what you want from me, I would have said, I want your head on a silver platter.
Mm.
Now, don't ask a question you don't want no answer to, okay? Because I can't stand something. I promise I would have can't. That's just me. And that's just me. I always been a fan of Garcelle, and I like Garcelle, but I'm so happy Garcelle finally sees Sudden what she really is. You know what I'm saying? Stand up for me sometimes. Give me your cheerleader outfit. You know what I'm saying? Put your cheerleader outfit in me like you do to Kyle. Somebody who do not care for you at all. Okay? That's how I see it. But hey, I digress. And what is wrong with Catherine? Every time I look up, everybody got to serve Kathy. Every season they go somewhere, somebody got to serve Kathy. And Cal said, she said it like, what is the problem? She said, hand me this, hand me this, hand me this, hand me this. Woman, get up and get your own food, get your own nap, get your own fork. Ain't nobody no service him. Somebody needs to tell Captain on them they go on trip. Ain't nobody no serving to you. Get your butt up and get your own stuff. You is not paying us, okay? You is not paying us to stop. You is not paying us to serve you. Like I said, you is not paying us to drink that vodka. Let me that tequila.
You got anything else for us, Lisa?
Nah, and I'm happy that you watch Atlanta.
How do
My
you?
boo watch Atlanta.
I watched.
Yeah, I
I
know.
need to review it though.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not gonna read it, but me, I wish we can talk about it, boo. We can talk about it, boo.
I told Chase
Yeah,
that
but
he
that's
I'll come over there and review with him like some episodes, but I didn't want to commit to it here
okay.
or there. So you may see me around at some point. I don't know when. You'll see me around.
I
Mm-hmm.
came up there. I came up this week too, so I told
Okay.
my support my baby. You know what I'm saying? I love all y'all. I
Okay.
love all y'all. Have a good night. And I love y'all guys. See y'all next week, okay?
Yeah,
Good
next
night.
week.
Love you, boo. Bye bye.
Good night. Okay. All right. So thank you to Lisa and I forget who Lisa, Sarah Capricorn, and Kyra for calling in tonight. I did see a quick comment from Amanda saying that I was surprised Bo said something. She kind of backtracked. She did backtrack. I forgot to mention that. At the end, she did backtrack. I'm like, oh, well, whatever. But we'll see how it goes. Thank y'all for watching today. Yes, Chase is sick. Yes, he is sick. So make sure y'all wish him well. Whether it be the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, or the YouTube, whatever. He'll probably be better next week, y'all. Y'all be careful. There's some little flu or something going on around. That's why I stay right here. You know,
I
you
had
know,
it last month.
child. Listen, y'all be safe, okay? Like the video, subscribe. Thank you to all of our callers. Thank you to Amanda, Artwell, Sask for moderating, keeping y'all in check tonight and getting y'all to like. Thank you, Sean. Give me shelter. David was in the chat. Durga, Paula Girl, Priya. Who else was in the chat that I saw? I said Kyra already. Whatever. If you was in the chat today, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Okay.
Peace.
Yeah, have a good night now.